Hello, everyone, and welcome to the basics of Nadex binary options. This is a webinar for the next 45, 50 minutes. We're going to be going through Nadex binary options to welcome a lot of new traders we've got to Nadex markets. A couple of housekeeping items before I get going, because I get this question every single time. One, yes, this is being recorded. We are recording this session. You will be able to go back and listen to it at your leisure and review it if you like, or go back and check certain sections if something didn't quite totally resonate with you, although hopefully I explained this well enough that we don't have that happen. You can also then share it with other people if you think other people might be interested in listening to it. Two, this is an interactive session on the right-hand side of your screen because we are here live. You've got that little question mark with a 1 in it. You can type questions into me. So as we go, if you've got a question, by all means, type it in. I will try to monitor the questions box as best as I can. I will go back and review it. If I've missed anything at the end, I will try to step back in. But I do want to make sure that you realize you've got the opportunity to type in questions. The truth of the matter is, if you've got a question, there's a high likelihood that somebody else has the same question. All right, those are the housekeeping items. Before I jump into anything, I do need to share this disclaimer because all of our webinars at Nadex are sponsored by our awesome compliance team. And I do need to share that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything I say as a buy or sell recommendation. I'm doing this for your education purposes, and that will become abundantly more clear when I do the off-roading session, which is that's what I like to call it. It's a very practical demonstration of trading binary options in the platform. We will see them in action in a live environment. Well, actually, it's a demo environment, but it's got live data. So we will be testing these out and applying some of the theory that we talk about during the session and put it into practice in the end, actually in the platform. Now, if you have not joined any Nadex webinars or our morning market movers session, which we do at 8:45 a.m. Eastern every morning, and I will discuss that more as well. But my name is Todd Rich. I am the head of education here. I am part of the business development team. I did join Nadex back in 2019, and I have been in the financial services sector for a long time. I did spend a number of years actually trading on the trading floors in Chicago. One of those crazy people waving my hands with a funky colored jacket and a goofy tie. And I did leave the floors as the business started to migrate to electronic markets. And I worked for the exchanges. I've worked for Eurex, which is a very large global exchange out of Frankfurt, Germany, owned by Deutsche Börse. But I also worked for Box Options. It was the Boston Options Exchange, but we rebranded it. The New York Stock Exchange for a number of years. And then before joining Nadex, I was at E-Trade getting into the retail space, helping retail traders. I did grow up in California and got both of my undergraduate and my master's at UCLA. Just to give you a little bit on me. Now, what are we going to be talking about today? On our agenda, I am going to briefly talk about who is Nadex. I'm not going to spend a lot of time there, but it is nice to tee that up before we talk about binary options. And there's a reason for that, specifically for binary options. Then we're going to talk about what these things are. What the heck are binary options or event contracts or prediction markets? There's a bunch of different words. We're going to get through all of that. And then we're going to talk about how they work. The risk versus the reward, about closing a position. It is a very important concept to understand, and I want to definitely emphasize that you can on closing a position. We are going to talk about how the price of a binary option fluctuates under different market conditions, so you can understand why they might move a certain way. Why is the price moving this way versus that? And then I am going to do that practical demonstration. I told you I would, and I'm hoping to get there sooner rather than later, because I find once we talk about it, when I show it to you, you go, I get it. It just clicks. All right, and I want to remind everyone again, in case, because we had some late joiners as well, this is being recorded and this is interactive. You've got that questions circle. It's a little question mark with a circle around it. You can type questions in as we go. I will do my best to respond to them. So let's get into it first with who is Nadex, and this is important when we're talking about binary options. It is an acronym, as everything in the financial services is. It's short for North American Derivatives Exchange. But what's important is we are a regulated. I highlight that, regulated exchange. We are regulated by the CFTC. Another acronym, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The reason I emphasize that is we are a regulated exchange in the United States. There are other binary option providers in the world. Most of them are offshore. And I would say if you had a challenge or a problem, in fact, if you Google binary options, you will read about all sorts of goofy, nefarious behavior at the exchange level. That is zero with Nadex, exactly zero, because we are regulated. We have to adhere to all the rules, laws, regulations of the United States. We have a regulatory body that oversees us, the CFTC. It is the same regulator that regulates the Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, who owns the New York Stock Exchange, or if you know in the future space, the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, who merged with the Chicago Board of Trade. They are all regulated by the CFTC. The CFTC is the future side regulator of the SEC. Everyone's probably heard of the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission. So when you hear about binary options and you hear about goofy behavior, none of that applies to Nadex. That it all applies to offshore exchanges, which is why people come to Nadex, is you're protected by the regulator to make sure that we're running a fair, open, proper market. Now, what does Nadex do is we offer contracts for the retail trader. We saw this coming. Retail traders have been flocking to the markets looking for price action. And when we say we gear things toward the retail trader, it is because we've got contracts that have a very low cost of entry. You do not need thousands of dollars to access price action in the markets. You can do so with hundreds or tens of dollars. That was exactly what Nadex did. And the reason you're able to do that is because every one of our contracts, doesn't matter what you're trading, has very, very, very clearly defined risk. You know exactly what you're getting into before you place a trade. There are no surprises. So things that you would experience, say, on larger futures exchange, things like initial margin, maintenance margin, margin calls, all of that, losing more than what you've got in your account. None of that applies to Nadex because every single contract is fully collateralized. It doesn't cost a lot of money to put a trade on. And once you put a trade on, you cannot lose any more than what you've initially put into a trade, period. End of story. So that is what Nadex was designed for, was for retail traders, and to do it in a proper regulated environment. And traders are looking for short-term price action. And that's what they're looking for when they come to Nadex, and we do binary options is one way to do it. If you're not familiar with knockouts, I would say come to the session. I believe it's next week where we'll be going through knockouts. I think knockouts are our most intuitive product, and they are really cool. I love our knockouts. I think once people find out what they are and they go, I could be trading like this, they really like them. But binary options are also very exciting, and that's where we're going to be focusing today. Now, let's first define these things. And we call them binary options. And what's crazy to me is we'll hear other people say, ooh, we've got event contracts. We're new. We've got event contracts. We're going to have a contract around an event, some type of economic event or whatever that event may be. Or some other people say, like, I like prediction markets. I want to be able to predict something. And the crazy thing is, prediction markets, which you've probably heard about, event contracts, and we actually have some contracts that we call specifically event contracts, and binary options They are all the same thing. There is no difference between any of them. They are identical. So let's talk about what they are. They are short-term defined risk-reward contracts. And a binary option, an event contract, a prediction market, they're all based on something. There's a statement, a prediction, an occurrence, an event, whatever it is. And each one of these, a binary option has three components. A prediction market does too, so does an event contract. But in the end, the reason they're called binary options is only one of two outcomes can occur. All right, you've got a statement, a prediction, and either the event is going to occur, yay, it happened, or in the end, it's not going to occur. So in the end, it's either true, it occurred, or it's not true, it's false. That's it. In the end. Now I'm emphasizing in the end, and there's a reason why I'm emphasizing in the end, and we will get to that. But in the end, there's only one of two outcomes that occur. It's either true or it's not true. That's why they're called binary options. And what's interesting is you can buy Nadex binary options or you can sell them. That is something that differentiates Nadex from many of the offshore providers, is you can do either. You can choose to predict that it's going to be true, or you can choose to predict that it's going to be false. So you can buy or you can sell, and it doesn't matter whether you're buying or selling. Your potential risk, potential reward is known up front. There are no surprises. That's why they're called binary options. It's simply a fancy name for predicting something, and either it's going to be true or it's going to be false. And you could think up anything you could think up that says, well, it's either this or it's going to be that, is a binary option. And it's just a matter of what market you're talking about. What are we predicting? So in the end, they are all the same thing. Now let's talk about what makes up these contracts. And there are three components that make up these contracts. The three things are, first, a market. And that's usually what differentiates a, quote, binary option from an event contract from a prediction market, is the market itself. At Nadex, we've got contracts that cover foreign exchange. We've got contracts that cover equity indices. We've got contracts that cover gold and oil, the energy markets, the metals markets. Because we are owned by crypto.com, we are going to have, eventually Nadex will list some type of contract on cryptocurrencies. So it's just the market. Or is it an economic event? CPI is coming out tomorrow morning. In fact, I know we've got a contract on that. Is the CPI, that's an economic report. That's your market. Then there's going to be a condition. Is it going to be greater than? Is it going to be less than? In many event contracts or prediction markets, it might even be like there's markets out there for, will opening box office sales for Top Gun Maverick be greater than X? The market is box office sales, and the condition is how much money are they getting at box office receipts? At Nadex, you can trade a bunch of different markets. Will the S&P 500, that's your market, the condition, be greater than a price? And there's going to be a level. And sometimes that condition is called the strike price. Sometimes it's called the level. And then there's always going to be a time. There's going to be a time component at the end of today, at the end of the week, at the end of the month. At Nadex, not only do we have longer term contracts like weekly contracts, we can have short-term contracts like the next 5 minutes. Will the euro US dollar be greater than 1.07 in the next 5 minutes? So you've got a market, the euro US dollar foreign exchange pair, the condition 1.076, whatever the price is, and the expiration time in the next 5 minutes, or in the next 2 hours, or at the end of today, or at the end of the week. So that is what makes up binary options, or event contracts, or prediction markets, whatever you want to call them. There's a market, there's a condition, and there's a time frame. Now, on binary options at Nadex, they will trade. There's going to be a number that you're looking at, and it will trade between 0 and 100. And now what I want to talk about, and before I jump there, it is going to trade between 0 and 100. But in the end, remember, it's a binary. It's going to be one or the other. So let's get into what is the price of a binary option? What does that price actually represent? Now, we know that these are true or false predictions. So either the event is going to happen or the event is not going to happen. And in the end, if it's true, the price goes to 100. All right, that is one of your choices. It finishes, it ends, it goes to 100, or it's false and it goes to 0. So there's your binary choices in the end. In the meantime, it is going to trade between 0 and 100. And what does that number represent? Well, at Nadex, it actually represents two things. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, and this is what I think people are surprised when they hear this, but you can think of the price as roughly reflecting the probability of the event being true as determined by the market at that particular moment in time. So will gold be above $1,800 an ounce at the end of the day? So there's our market, gold. Our condition, $1,800 an ounce, and the time at the end of the day. Will gold be greater than $1,800 at the end of the day? Now, if gold were trading right at 1,800, the probability of it finishing, because in the end, it either finishes above 1,800 or it doesn't. And if it finishes above 1,800, it goes to 0. And if it doesn't finish above 1,800, it goes to 0. But at that moment in time, there's an equal chance that it will finish above 1,800 as there is that it won't, if it's right at the condition, if it's right at 1,800. At that point, you would think that the binary option would be trading around 50, meaning there's a 50% chance, as determined by the market price, that it will finish at 100. It also means there's a 50% chance that it will finish at 0. Now, if you're looking at the price, and here's a market, and it doesn't even matter what I'm looking at a market of, but at Nadex on an order ticket, you'll see the two prices. You'll see the bid-ask spread. There's a bid at 46.25 and an offer at 49.25. Now, if you look at the middle, the exact midpoint is 47.75. If you buy this binary option, the market is saying there's a 47.75% chance that in the end, it'll finish at 100. All right, so it's just a probability. Now, you can also sell binary options. Let's say we were looking at a different binary option. All right, and here the market, it's trading above 50. It's 50.5 at 54 even. Now, if I look at the middle is a 52.25. Now, if I were, let's just for argument's sake, if I were trying to buy this one, all right, if I bought it, the market is telling me there's a 52.25% chance it would go to 0. But in this case, I'm selling it. I'm trying to sell it. Now, if I sell it, it's 100 minus that. So if I'm selling it, the probability of it going to 0, so the probability of me winning and having this go to 0 if I sell it, is 47.75% chance. So now you do not need to be able to do this math. We calculate those probabilities for you on the order ticket, but it's nice to understand that you can buy or sell them. And what you're really looking at is the probability at that moment in time that it's going to finish high, either that it's going to, if you're buying it, that it's going to go to 100, and if you're selling it, it'll calculate it differently, that your trade would go, that you would be profitable and your trade would go to 0. And we are going to talk more about how people trade binary options. I just want you to understand what that price represents. Now, I told you that number represents two things. Yes, it's the probability, but at Nadex, it also represents the dollar value. We made our contracts have a total value of $100. Now, again, you don't need to do this math, but it's nice and it's handy to be able to see it very quickly and easily. Now, I told you that your risk when you initiate a trade at Nadex, you cannot ever lose more than what you initially put into a trade. So what do you have to put up? What's the collateral? What's the cost of the trade to you? What does it cost for you to do a trade? And it's the maximum risk. You have to put up the most that you could potentially lose when you initiate a trade. So if I'm buying a contract, it's the buy price. And if I'm selling, it's 100 minus the buy price. Now, because a contract's worth $100, if I buy a binary option for 20, all right, I'm buying it for 20, I'm going to have to put up $20. Now, there's a 20% chance, so a 1 in 5, that this is, at least according to the marketplace, that it could or will finish, that it will finish above the condition and it will go to 100, in which case I'm risking 20 to potentially make 80 if it goes to 100. All right. Now, if I'm selling, I have to put up 100 minus my sell price. So if I sold one at 20, all right, I'd have to put up $80. I'm risking $80. Now, what am I looking to make? If I sell one, I'm looking for it to go to 0. I'm looking to make $20. Now, people say, why would you do that? Well, selling one at 20, yeah, there's a 80% chance that it's going to go to 0 and I'll collect the $20. It means there's a 20% chance that it will go to 100 and I would lose the 80. So again, we do all the math for you, but you can quickly and easily see how the price represents the probability, and it's also the cost to do the trade, whether you're buying or you're selling. You can see how much you'd have to put up, which is the maximum that you could potentially lose on the trade. Now, I told you we do all this for you on the order ticket. On an order ticket, here's an order ticket for a binary option. We have an indicative price. So when I took this particular example, which is a few months old, but it doesn't really matter, the S&P 500 was trading at 4659.333. Now, I knew the binary option expired in 22 hours, and I had my condition. Will the S&P 500 finish higher than 4659.6 at 4:15 p.m. tomorrow? I had 22 hours. Now, the current price on that was 50, bid at 53 and a quarter. Now, I know that I can buy at 53 and a quarter? Yes, and there's a very, very, very good question right now. What does the 200 represent in the upper corner if I'm buying? That 200 tells me there are 200 contracts that are being offered there. And over here, there's only 100 contracts being bid for. So if I wanted to buy, I know that I could, if I wanted to buy right now, I could buy 200 contracts at 53 and a quarter, and I know I could sell 100 contracts at 50. Now, do I have to trade on those prices? No, it's an open order book. I could, if I were trying to buy, I might want to say I'd be willing to pay 52.75. Right? Now, if I put this order in, you would see this bid go to 52.75, and there would only be one in the upper left-hand corner because I'm only trying to buy one. Now, if I tried to buy one at 52.75, it tells me before I even do the trade that if you buy it, now I don't necessarily, I might not buy it. I could put my bid up there and no one sells it to me, or someone might sell it to me. I can try. If I bought it, I would be risking $52.75. Now, what's my maximum profit? My maximum profit is it goes to 100. So I could potentially make $47.25. Now, what do we also give you at the order ticket at the bottom? If I'm buying, all right, the midpoint here is 51 5/8, 51.625. There's a 51.63% chance that this is going to finish above the strike price and go to 100. Meaning there's a 49.375 chance that it will not finish above there and it will go to 0. All right, and that's for those who want to sell. So if you actually want to see what an example of a sell looks like, here's a different order ticket, and here, all right, now this is a different condition. Will the S&P 500 finish higher than 45.72 in the next hour and a half? So notice there's only an hour and a half to go, and it's a different condition, 45.72, and I want to sell one. Notice that it's currently trading above that price. Now, if I wanted to sell it, I could sell one at 56.75. There are 100 bid there. Now, I don't have to necessarily sell it. I could try to sell it at 59. If I tried to sell it at 59, right, I know that it can only go to 100, so I can only potentially lose 41, but I could potentially make 59. But notice that my probabilities are different. All right, I'm selling this. If I sold it here, there's a 42%, only a 42% chance that it will go to zero, and I would collect the $59. Now, the return on investment, people do ask about that, the ROI. If I were to trade one of these, it's how much am I putting up? So what's my maximum loss? How much am I putting up to how much I could potentially make? But when we do this return on investment calculation, we do factor in transaction costs. So if you're trying to do the math, transaction costs are factored into that, which will impact your potential return on investment. But if I sold this one, if I tried to sell one here, I could potentially be making 126% return on my money if I actually sold it and put up $41 and I collected the 59 after I take out transaction costs. All right, so we do all the math for you. You can see what the probability of a success, the potential probability of a successful trade is before you place the trade, whether you're buying or whether you're selling. But that's what you're trading is the probability. Now that probability is going to change over time. So when I emphasized in the end, and I said in the end, it can only go to one or the other. This is really important at Nadex, and this is not necessarily true of a lot of other binary option providers. But when you are trading binary options, just because there's an expiration associated with the contract does not mean you have to wait until then to see what happens. That is so important. I'm going to say it again. Just because there's an expiration does not mean you have to wait and see. You can choose to close a position early. At other providers, you are not allowed to necessarily do that. At Nadex, you can close a position early. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, number one would be to lock in a profit. So you can exit a position early to lock in profits. You could also do it to minimize losses. So let's go back to that example, and this is what some traders will do is, and they'll maximize their trading capital like this too, is they might look, they're looking for something that's going on in the market. They'll do their analysis. They think that the price is going to go up. Let's make it easy. And they buy a binary option at 20. Now the market is telling me there's only a 20% chance. There's only a 20% chance that it's going to go to 100. All right, that it will actually settle in the end and go to 100. But I thought the price was going to go higher. I buy it and it does go up and it goes right to at the money. All right, and it doesn't matter what I'm buying or what the condition is, it goes to right at the money. Now, what did we say earlier? If it's right there at the strike price, there's an equal chance that it's going to ultimately finish above or below. So we said it's going to be trading around a 50% probability. Well, if I buy one at a 20% probability and I paid $20 and it goes to 50% probability, now it's good. It's gone my way. Do I have to wait and see if it goes to 100 or 0? And the answer is no. I could choose to sell it back at 50, say, thank you very much. I put up $20. It went to 50. I took my profit. I made $30. I made 150% return on my money. I'll take the $30 profit and go do another trade. Now you can choose to say, no, I think it's going to go higher and I risk 20, I want the whole 80, and you can go for it. But you're still at risk. All right. So you got to be asking yourself at this moment in time, with how much time to expiration there is, it's at the money. Do I want to stay in this trade at 50 or do I want to get out and take my profits? Now that also works the other way is, let's say you bought one at 50. All right, you had a 50% chance and you were wrong and the price went down and now it's trading 30. You're like, uh-oh, I went the wrong way. Now you could sit there and wait It's trading 30. Now the market's telling you there's only a 30% chance, but there's still a 30% chance that it will ultimately go to 100. You could choose to sell it back out at 30, take your lumps, lose $20, say, I was wrong, I'm going to admit it, and you do not have to lose all 50. You can cut your losses if you want. So that is very important rule when trading binary options. Now, at Nadex, we do help you a bit with your ability to close a position early. We have some functionality baked into the platform. So here's an instance of we know what my position is. I bought one of these at 53 and a quarter. And I mean, the condition's up here. I bought, will the S&P 500 be greater than 46.59? If I bought one and I paid 53 and a quarter, I can actually say, I want to set my profit target. And we have a set profit target function where I can say, and you can click up or down, and I could say, I want to make $29 on this trade. It tells me for me to make $29, this is where you'd have to exit. And I could place a limit order to potentially sell or try to sell my long of one at a higher price, and I'll have an order to sell higher. So if I step away from the computer and it spikes up there quickly, and maybe it comes right back down, I got filled, I took my $29 profit and I walked away. Okay, and if you sold one, you would want to buy it back lower. You can place a limit order lower, but we do have this set profit target function. I will show you that on the platform where you can set your profit target when trying to exit the position. Now, the other thing that we have to close the position is we simply have a button that says close the position. Using a profit target, if you're using a limit order. You're using a limit order to sell something higher or using a limit order to buy something lower. You can simply just exit the position, just close the position, get me out. Let's say I bought one of these. All right, I'm long one. I know I've got one, and I bought it at 53 and a quarter, and I didn't mean to buy one of these, or I changed my mind, or I clicked the wrong button. I want to quickly get out. I can use the close position order, and it's telling me right now if I sent a market order. Currently, there's a 50.25 bid. If I just close my position, I would lose $3 and I can move on to my next trade. Whoops, I bought it. I didn't mean to do that. We have a close order function, which will send a market order to close your position. I will demonstrate both of those to you. Now, before I go over and start demonstrating these on the platform, I do want to quickly go through how the price of a binary option fluctuates, because it is rather important that we cover these concepts. The probability of an event occurring or not occurring is going to constantly change. Now, what will change that? Things that will change it are time to expiration and volatility. And I want to walk through some examples to show you how volatility and time to expiration can impact the price of a binary option. Interestingly enough, the price of the binary option does not have to move in line with the price of underlying. If I buy a binary option and the underlying actually goes up, the price of the binary option doesn't necessarily have to go up with it. And that would be impacted by time to expiration and volatility. So let me show you what I mean. Here's an example of the Euro USD. And the condition was, will it be greater than 1.14? And here's a chart of the Euro USD for, and let's just say this was a day. I'm just going to call it a day. It doesn't matter, but we're going to call it a day. And here's the 1.14 level. Okay. Now, early in the day, it's already above 1.14, right? We're already above it. So the price of the binary option is above 50%. The likelihood at this point in time, the market was saying the midpoint's 56. So they're going to say there's a 56% chance that in the end, it will finish at 100. Now, it drops. Now, early in the day, the price went down. It was a pretty big move down, but the binary option only went down to 44. Now, it did go down because we are now below 1.14, so it went down below the 50% probability, but there's still a lot of time left in the day. Now, we skip ahead and notice we're about at the same price. We're right about the same price, but the binary option now is only trading at 36%. Now, why is it only trading at 36%? That is called time decay. That is because half of the day has gone by and there's much less time for it to move higher and the condition to be true. Now, we make a similar-ish move with less time left in the day up. Notice that the volatility, the move, it had a much more impactful move. It jumped $40. It went up to a 74% chance. It made a much bigger move as it jumped up. That's because there's much less time in the day and we're above. Now, when we come back down, I mean, this is a very, very volatile day. It's really swinging around. Now, at this moment in time, the market's telling me there's only a 24% chance that it's going to finish above one spot 14 and go to 100. Now, if it finishes at this line or below, it's going to go to 0. If it finishes above the line, it's going to go to 100. It doesn't matter where above the line it finishes, it goes to 100. In this case, it did. It could have finished anywhere above this line, and it doesn't matter how much higher it went. It can only go to 100, and it doesn't matter how much lower it goes. It can only go to 0. Now, you can see closing a position early would be very beneficial in a highly volatile environment. There were a bunch of opportunities to trade this throughout the day versus taking a position and waiting to see what happens. So in a very volatile environment, there might be more trades for you to potentially do than just one. Now, if we were to look at a low volatility environment, and here I just want to show you two simple examples of time decay. Here's one where it's the same condition, one spot 14. Notice how there's no volatility in the market. Early in the day, it's below 50, and what you're going to see is throughout the day, it's going to decay to 0. Notice here, from midday, where there's only a 34% chance, notice how the price of it actually went up. The price went up, but the binary option went down. The binary option went down. And the reason it went down is even though if you had bought it here and you thought, hey, it's getting closer to the condition, why am I losing money on my binary option? That's because it's a very low volatility environment. And there's less, the market is saying there's a much less likelihood of it going back above one spot 14. There's really no volatility. And in the end, it did actually end up going to 0. Had you sold this at the beginning of the day, you could have watched it rot all the way down to 0 and you made your $42 or $44. Now, if it's above, here's the exact same chart, but you are above one spot 14, it won't decay to 0. It's going to decay up to 100. So you start the day and it's above 50. And again, it will just as time goes on in a very low volatility environment, it will ultimately, and it does, and in the end of the day, it actually went down. Look at this, the price goes down, but the binary option went to 100. It could have come all the way down to here and it would still have settled at 100. Remember, in the end, it's either going to be 0 or 100. It's a binary option. It's one or the other. All right, so you're just predicting, and in the end, but you can trade it throughout the day. All right, now at Nadex, we do offer you, not only do we offer you a bunch of different products, so the markets, we have a variety of markets, but within each market, there's going to be different time frames. And in each time frame, there's going to be different conditions, so you can choose whatever suits you best. So here's the example of some foreign exchange, all right? And if you'd like me to do some other markets when I jump over to the platform, like you want me to take a look at gold or oil or the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, whatever, punch it in. I will take a look at it when we jump over. So if anyone wants me to do a particular market when I go off-roading, I'll certainly accommodate that. But here we're looking at, notice we have a bunch of different foreign exchange pairs. And inside the euro US dollar, and I know it's currently trading, at the time it was trading one spot 12, we've got different time frames. So you've got different expirations. 3 days, 20 hours, 16 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours, 4 hours. So you've got plenty of choices in terms of markets and in terms of time. And then if I looked inside one of these times, All right, so here's one where there's 12 hours to go. I've got different conditions. This is clearly, with it trading at one spot 93, the one spot 92, this is the one that's closest to at the money. It's currently slightly above there, so it's currently trading slightly above 50%. Notice as I go higher, the probabilities are going to go lower because it's got to go up to get close to these levels. And as I go down, it's already well above these prices. So the probability of it staying above this price and finishing at 100 is going to go higher. All right. And as I mentioned in FX, we got 5-minute binary options. In fact, I'm going to, and you're going to see how volatile a binary option can be as you approach expiration, because in the end, it's either going to go to a 0 or 100. And if it's moving around in the last few minutes, the price of that binary option is going to swing around dramatically. So we are now going to look at that. Before I jump over there, I do want to follow up with, if you've got any questions. If I didn't get to your, it looks like I've answered everyone's question, but if you've got additional questions about your account, about our platform, about our products, anything, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. We are here to help. I would also suggest you follow us on, now we've got a bunch of different social media channels, but I'm going to emphasize YouTube. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, we do have a YouTube channel. We do, every morning, I do a live show with a colleague, Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple, he's a fantastic coach, and we do a 15-minute analysis of hotspots in the markets. In fact, let me even go over there. If you go to the Nadex YouTube page, this is the Nadex YouTube page, you can subscribe to our channel. This is where you will find the recording of today's session. If I go to, and by the way, there's a bunch of things up here that you can take a look at. Take a listen. But if I go to simply our videos list, and I'm going to go to, and I'm going to click up, I'm going to go to upcoming live streams. All right, every morning, you can set a reminder. If you're subscribed, you can set a reminder, and we do it 8:45 a.m. Eastern, 7:45 a.m. Central, and we do it every morning. And for 15 minutes, we take a look at hotspots in the markets. We talk about headline news. We talk about economic announcements for that day. We take a look at the charts. We take a look at potential technical levels that could be interesting and help you focus on where might you want to be looking, potentially looking for trading opportunities in Nadex markets with what's going on that day in the markets. Now, if you want to see, if you want to review a session, you could certainly go. We record those as well. You go to past streams, and you can actually go back and listen to what we did today or what we did earlier in the week or even for the past year. I mean, I told you we've been doing these for a while. We've gotten pretty good at it. But you can go back. If you can't join live, you can always go back and catch the recording. This is where you will also, if you go to uploads, this is where you'll find a recording of today's session. And and again, we've got plenty of educational content out here. If you're looking for a guide on how to start reading charts, I did this a week ago, and you know nothing about technical analysis. You don't even know what it is or why it exists, and you just want to start going, what the heck are charts? And I just want to start learning. You want to just go back and you can review this at your leisure, a how-to guide to start reading charts. But we're doing webinars every week. We do things on our products. We do things on charts. We do things on our platform. And I know that we're going to start doing boot camps again. And if you were curious what a boot camp is, if I go back to our homepage, the last boot camp we did was trading the stock market. You can go back and you can review. I think our last couple of boot camps are even up here. You can find them. Day trading in your spare time, which was a fun one. We had Tom Sosnoff actually join us on how he uses day trading and how he's used day trading to build wealth. In any case, you can go back and you can find lots of things on the Nadex YouTube channel so that you can learn at your leisure. Now I am going to jump over to the platform. By the way, those morning sessions, if you come to nadex.com, you'll notice on the left-hand side, you can actually link away and it'll tell you, hey, I want to go watch today's, because if you can't find it on YouTube, you can go hey, I'm going to go subscribe to the Nadex YouTube channel. I'm going to watch it now. Or when we're streaming live, it's another one. It says, hey, go catch it. So we do help you by putting that up there. Now I am going to log into our platform. Let's go to a demo account. I think this is a demo account. Okay. Now, remember, no trading advice here. I'm just going to be clicking around on our platform. If you need some help with our platform, we do have a video that we go through all of our functionality, but right back on YouTube where I had some, you can go back and go through a platform tutorial or join the next one. You take a look at the Nadex website under learning webinars. You can always catch one live in case you want to ask questions. So binary options, I am only going to focus on binary options. I'm not going to talk about call spreads and knockouts. We did have someone ask about equity indices. So they wanted to do the stock market. I am going to take a look at the S&P 500. They just said stocks. So I'm going to, we do have products, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500. Let's just take a look at a daily one for the S&P 500 and notice how we've got a bunch of different conditions. And I could tell you right now which one is the at the money. I know that the S&P is around 40.99, and just by looking at these, I can pick a binary option. Let's make this a 15-minute chart, all right? And I can tell. And here's our different strike prices. Now, I can, if I think, and I'm just, again, I'm not doing it, I'm not no trade recommendations. I think we're going to go higher. I think we're going to finish the day strong. I'm just saying that. And if I wanted to buy one, I can click buy one. If you wanted to do more and risk more, I could do two. And I'm going to buy two at 46. All right, so I just placed an order. And I do, all right, I do have a position. I bought two. I bought two at 46. Okay. Now let's say I didn't actually mean to buy two. I only wanted to buy one. I could simply go and close one of these and say, oops, get me out. Just take a $5 loss. I don't even care. I only want to have one of these. So now I've only got one. Okay. And you can actually see in my history that I bought two and then I sold one. I got out and okay, whoops, I took a loss. I only wanted one of these. But maybe I did actually want to, but I wanted to pay a lower price. So now I'm going to put, I didn't want to pay 40. I want a dollar cost average in. So I'm going to put one at 40.5, and I'm going to place my order. Now, notice I wanted to buy one at 40.5. There's my bid. It's 40.5 for one. And notice I see it in my order book. I'm trying to buy one at 40.5. Am I going to buy it? I don't know. Someone would have to sell it to me, but I do know that I've already bought one at 46. That's my current position. I'm trying to buy another one at 40.5. Now, on the one that I bought, okay, on the one that I bought, I'm going to go to my position and I can hit set profit target. All right. I click set profit target and it's going to help me. How much money do I want to make? Maybe I wanted to try to make $21. Okay. And I can sit here and I can click this plus, or I could put in a price if I wanted to, 65. 65 would only be a 19. I wanted to make $21. So I'm going to take it up here. I wanted to make $21 on this one lot. I'm going to place my limit order. It's going to place the limit order up at 67. All right. And if it does pop higher and the probability jumps to 67, I'll sell that one back out at $21. And if you wanted to see what I'm doing here, back in my orders page, I'm trying to buy one at 40.5, a little bit lower. I wanted to add to my position, and I'm trying to sell the one that I've got at a higher price. All right, so I know exactly what I am. If I click on this again, and I could see where the market is right now, it's bouncing around. I'm still 40.5 bid for my one. And we'll see. Maybe I'll buy it, maybe I won't. All right, and I am in a demo environment. Your experience in a demo environment will be distinctly different than a live environment. If you're in a live environment, someone might have sold that to me already. I'm in a demo environment. I'm only here where only people who are currently trading in demo see that I'm trying to do that. And people also do crazy things in a demo environment. So for instance, and this is, I'm just going to show you an example, but let's just pick one of these up here. You know, all right, I'm just going to do something totally crazy. I would not want to buy 200 of these for $1. All right. I could place my order. All right, and look at this. I'm trying to buy 200 of them for one. Someone might sell that. I don't know. I'm in demo. It's a crazy thing. I can only lose $200 and I can make 19,800. But it's kind of crazy that one, I don't know if anyone's going to sell that to me because someone have to take the opposite side of that trade. But it's just a cuckoo trade, and people do things like that in demo just because it's a demo environment. So your experience in demo will be different than your experience in a live environment. Now what I'd like to do is really show you how things move. And I am going to go back. I said I was going to go through an example. All right, here, let's take a look at the Euro USD, and I'm going to just bring up the chart and notice how there are 4 minutes and 8 seconds. I want to see all of my strikes. So show strikes. Yes, good. Let's make this a 1 minute chart. I'm going to do this quickly. Here we go. All right, we got a 1 minute chart, and we are going to watch the probabilities of these move around. And we've still got 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes ago. Maybe I think it's going to go high. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to buy. Wow, I can't place an order. Buy one at 29. Okay. What's my position here? I bought one at 25.5. I bought one of these at 25.5. I think it's going to go higher. I bought it at 25.5. It starts ticking higher. This could, as we watch, this could start going higher. I'm just going to sit here and watch it. I bought it at 25.5. Oh, look at that. As soon as it started ticking lower, look how quickly this collapsed. Look at how quickly that collapsed. I'm going to make this chart a little bit bigger. All right. These prices will move dramatically. All right. Now I'm losing on that trade. It's dropping lower. It's dropping lower. In fact, this one here, which was at 56, it's right at the money. It looks like it's going lower. We don't know what's going to happen here. It certainly looks like it's not going to get back above. It looks like I'm going to lose on mine, but maybe I still think it's going to finish higher than this price. I could try to buy one. I'm going to buy one here at. I think I did. Did I buy one? 41.0. What did I just do? Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, I bought one of these. I bought one here at. Wow, look at this. It's just dropping out. Maybe I want to try to close. I don't even know if I can close it. Let's just close that position. It's just the bottom is falling out. Close it. Take my $24 loss. In fact, I think it's going to keep going lower. All right. Now I'm just going to go short. If that's what the market wants, and it's going to drop out. Notice this one here, which was at 70. All right. It's just plummeting, and I'm trying to make some of my money back. I went ahead and sold it. I'm making a little bit. Oh, now it's coming back. Let's see what happens here. All right, I'm going to set a profit target of. I'm going to buy it back lower. Let's see if I can make $15 on this one. All right, place my limit order. Let's see what happens. This is what you're seeing. The example I went through on how volatile the price of a binary option can be. We've only got a minute and 18 seconds to go. Now it's bouncing back. This is either going to go to a 0 or 100. All right. These are all. The ones I bought earlier. There's not even a chance. No one even wants these things. This is going to be fun. I want to see what's going to happen. Is this going to go to 0 or 100? And I'm not going to get out of my trade. I'm going to sit here and wait and see what happens. We've got 55 seconds. Now, the reason I'm saying, look at this, and as it bounces away, woo, look how quickly these probabilities change. It was just at 60. I could, and it's still hovering in here. Now, as we get closer, with about 30 seconds to go, the prices are going to go blank. Now, why are the prices going to go blank? That is because nobody, the only bid here is me. This is me trying to buy mine back, because no one knows if it's going to go above or below. We don't know what's going to happen here. And because it's either going to go to 0 or 100, we don't know what's going to happen. And 9 seconds to go. And I'm having a hard time telling where it's going to settle. It just settled. That's a good question. I don't know where that's settled. Yeah, and all my other orders were canceled. I mean, you can see how volatile and how crazy it can be. And notice after 5 minutes, we got a fresh slate of 5-minute binary options, and you're free to go again. So that did give you an idea on how crazy and how quickly the volatility can move and how the price can move very rapidly as you get closer and closer to expiration. That was a 5-minute binary option. Some people like that price action. Other people don't. The volatility will be different at different times of the day. That is something we cover in those morning sessions where when should I be looking at the market? When is there an economic announcement? When is there a report? Where are things, when can markets make a more dramatic move? All right, with that, I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to remind you, if you've got any questions, please reach out to us, customerservice@nadex.com. You can go back and watch this recording. If you've got any questions, you didn't follow something, by all means, email us. We're here to help. And if you're unfamiliar with this and this is new to you, practice in a demo environment. I really recommend practicing in a demo environment because it does help you understand and you can get a feel for how these move and how you can place profit targets, how you can close positions to either lock in a profit or minimize losses and get comfortable with how you use the platform. Thank you so much for joining. I hope to catch you tomorrow morning if you can join us on our morning market mover session over on the Nadex YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. You can set reminders. Remember, it's under the video section, and you can find the past sessions. Hopefully, we catch you then. And until then, good luck in the markets, everyone.